Hello, everyone. This is Lenard Guzman here with Emily Robinson on the Modern Divorce Podcast. It's January 10th, 2022. It's like part of the year where you're still writing 2021. So 2022, it's all twos except a zero. Like you imagine 2222, 2022, 2222. So how's everything, Emily? With the new year, I imagine new year. California we're always rolling them out towards the beginning at the like January 1st deadline to start new laws. And like, why do we do that? Why don't we just do it like November 15th and just get it through? It's like 15, 20, 30 new laws, and it's just influx of craziness.
I think people would go nuts if like new things started during the holidays. Everyone's already so stressed at the holidays and trying to like wrap up their year and have a slow December. I think if we tried to throw new laws on them, they'd lose their minds. I think it has to like January is sort of like that down month when everybody's down because they don't have the holidays are over and now they're back to work and there's nothing to look forward to. So might as well give them new laws to read about.
All right, so let's look forward to some news. It seems like a slower news day with divorce. So this part of the show, we're going to go over news about divorce that we see on Google, see things that are trending, see things that we can talk about. So let's see what we have. How do you say this? We've done this website before, DeseretNews.com. So the problem with divorce made me better narrative. So you could stay with your husband and children and still do important work. Just ask millions of American women. So can great mothers be great writers? Can women who are fully devoted to caring for their families also reach the highest level of professions? Can they think deep thoughts? Can they create lasting works of art? So some recent articles by women who are sick of their domestic lives suggest the answer is no, or almost never. Honor Jones, an editor at The Atlantic, recently penned a piece about her divorce in which she complained 3% blue Play-Doh, 10% toast, 87% Honey Nut Cheerios dust. This was who I was. She wanted instead to be thinking about art and sex and politics and the patriarchy, how much of my life, the architecture of my life, but also its essence, my soul, my mind, but had I built around my husband. So they go in more into depth here. So more likely though, I've reached my potential as a writer and thinker and blaming my domestic responsibilities. So the fact that I haven't achieved more doesn't seem fair. Yes, much of my soul and body are occupied with my family and all the attendant logistic challenges of raising 3 children in the 21st century. Let's see. I'm not sure I'd spend more time and energy thinking about big thoughts or writing more deeply. I'd probably just pick up a hobby. So in an article a few months earlier called "Divorce Can Be an Act of Radical Self-Love," so this writer, Laura Blazalon, writes that after I became a mother, I was still the same striving woman. I'm working, obsessed, domestically challenged person I've always been. I had made choice after choice to prioritize my career because I believed fervently in the importance of work I was doing, providing legal representation to wrongfully convicted men and women. She said, work gave me an identity and purpose. Gosh, it's like 2022, like you're saying, and women have these challenges that they go through, and it's so unfair, right? Like you work so hard, you work up, let's say, the corporate ladder, then you have children, and it's so probably difficult to kind of start over or kind of like put things on hold.
Yeah, it is. It is. Like they tell you you can do it all, but you can't. You can't be a full-time parent and a full-time, employee and give 100% to everything, because there's just not that many hours in the day and not that much energy in one person. Um, so it's very hard. You have to rely heavily on delegation, and you have to make your priorities clear to yourself, whether that's work or your family or what it is. And you just have to give the most you can to each thing. But it's not going to be 100% because there just isn't that much there. And those choices are hard. I think they're different for everyone. Everyone has to decide what is the most important to them.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that they said something about divorce is like a radical self-love, and I don't feel like that kind of guilt towards like men. Like I never really hear that among like because I have friends and family who've gone through divorce on like the male side. And I don't hear that. It's like it's unfair, and it's like but I guess the narrative is kind of changing now, like in the modern time. I think the author of the article was mentioning about they think about the patriarchy, and that's interesting how that's still part of the narrative.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think even with, equal rights and 50-50, you know, with kids and everything, the parenting is always going to tend to fall more on one person. It just is. And that frequently is the woman. Not always, but frequently. And I don't know if that's biological or societal, but whatever it is, I think a lot of women still feel, I have a full-time job and I still do like 90% of the parenting, and that's tough.
All right, something lighter here. Pete Davidson, are you a fan or not?
I'm sorry, what? Oh, Pete Davidson?
Yeah, SNL. He's in movies now.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Why? What did he do?
Well, okay, so this is according to stylecaster.com. So I assume he's dating Kim Kardashian. So here's how Kim's kids feel about
That's
her dating
right. I knew about
Pete.
that and I forgot.
So Pete dating Pete amid her divorce from their dad. So there's a common thing probably with children and you know parents of divorce dating. So welcome to the family. Kim Kardashian's kid have bonded with Pete Davidson amid their divorce from Kanye West. The source told Us Weekly on January 6th that Kim's family, including her four kids, so North 8, St. 6, Chicago 3, and Psalm 3 with Pete since the two started dating in October 2021. Kim and Pete are very in sync right now. They're very in step with each other, and their relationship's easy. They're getting closer and closer and are a really great pair. Kim and Pete are obviously getting more serious. Source continued. He's bonded with their entire family. I wonder who the source is. It's probably like Kris Jenner is probably the source.
Right, exactly.
So this is a thing. Like you hear more of these stories where it's like kind of with the modern family. These relationships, I think communication. You hear more of these happy stories, which is good to hear because it wasn't like this even 10 years ago. Like you don't hear like you hear like a lot of the children of divorce resent the parent dating again. Do you hear that more, or is it maybe I'm just reading too much TMZ?
I think that if it's a celebrity dating again, they're always gonna talk about that, right? Um, so I think, you know, I've heard Kanye's dating someone too. I forget who, but I thought I heard that. Maybe not. Maybe I'm mixing him up with another celebrity. But yeah, they move on and they need press. And so even if they don't want to date, I assume maybe they do because they want to, get more press about something. And especially with someone like the Kardashians, like they need constant press to stay relevant. So they're going to find a way to have stories about themselves regardless. But
This
I
one
think
will.
they,
Good.
well, they've been separated a while. I mean, on and off, I guess. But so it's not that weird to start dating again.
I want to click on this other celebrity news here. It's like it won't load, but so the headline says Jada Pinkett Smith made one selfless sacrifice that convinced Will Smith to sign his divorce papers. So Will Smith was reluctant to sign his divorce papers from Cherie Zampino until Jada Pinkett Smith did something extraordinary, and that's it. We don't get into it.
Wait, I'm confused. Will Smith is doing divorce papers?
I imagine he signed divorce papers from his like now ex-wife. I have to like I didn't get a click on
Oh,
it.
prior to
Yeah.
Jada. Okay, because I didn't think they were getting divorced. They have a lot of like stuff about how they make their marriage work and stuff. That's right. I forgot he was married before. So
Yeah.
yeah, they have a lot of stuff. Like I've read so much stuff that they about how they have an open marriage and um that's how they make it work and they're not shy to talk about it and they, kind of believe in unconventional marriage. Um which is interesting because it's sort of in a way they're kind of like a role model for like alternative ways to make your marriage work. If the traditional way isn't working for you, kind of like instead of getting a divorce, like here's other options, here's other things you can do to, if you guys are both okay with it, to keep your relationship going. And since Will had been through a divorce before, probably, you know, probably had some insight into that and he's managed to make this marriage stick.
So an open marriage, I don't. I mean, it's like open. I guess you negotiate it yourself. So I imagine you're married. I guess emotionally you're vested, but you can go and date other people, and this is I guess it's negotiable, right? You can do certain things. Is this a common thing that's trending up that you're hearing about, or is it just one particular thing? Because I really doubt my wife would even have this conversation with me.
It is definitely not a trend that I'm hearing about. I don't think most people like it or can handle it. Both of you basically have to agree that one of you or both of you can go outside the marriage, um, and have relationships with other people. And I do not think that is very common. I don't think most relationships can handle that. But there are some that can, and apparently, Will Smith is one of them. But they're also both very rich celebrities that have raised their children already. And, you know, um, maybe, there's different types in a normal relationship, there's jealousy, right? Maybe it's different when you're that famous and maybe the jealousy's already there because everybody's watching your husband or wife. And so it's just a very different mindset. But no, I do not think this is a common trend at all.
All right, let's go to the next. There's so many topics today. We're just covering everything. Okay, so this is from cosmopolitan.com. These women open up about divorce in your 20s. These women open up about divorce in your 20s. Divorce has really helped me understand myself better. So, did you know that today is Divorce Day? Oh, this is a UK magazine or a version of it. So, AKA one of the busiest days of the year for divorce lawyers. Neither did I I started researching this article, but divorce has certainly been on my mind, despite the fact that I'm not even engaged, never been married. 2021 was a year when we all were forced to think about divorce in a big way, whether it was a major theme of Adele's comeback album. I like a few songs out of that thing. Or after the public dissolution of mega celeb couples like Kim and Kanye. And while divorce has always and rightfully so been depicted as something tragic and life altering, last year saw something of a shift. The pain was still there, of course, but they're also being reminded that really is life after divorce. So let's see, let's scroll down here. So yeah, this is in the UK. It is estimated that 42% of marriages are expected to end in divorce, and it's no secret that plenty of marriages won't be a case of till death do us part. And maybe due to a resulting consciousness, millennials are significantly less likely to be married compared to other generations. A 2018 US study suggests that 46% of 25 to 37-year-olds in their bracket were married, compared to 57% of Gen Z, Gen X, and 67% of early baby boomers are at the same age. So let's keep going here. But while marriages definitely seem to be on the decline among younger population, doesn't seem to be dying out either. After 2 years of lockdown, this year's seen plenty of us receiving lots of wedding invites as couples look to finally have the big bash of their dreams. The hashtag marriage hashtag has 25.7 billion views on TikTok and 221 million results when you search on Instagram. So here's an interesting thing about millennials. They're more easily accepting of divorce and hopeful, whereas older generations can be more distressed and pessimistic about what the future holds. When millennials hear the news of someone's divorce, they are sympathetic, but also happy that the divorcee is free of something that wasn't good for them. They more easily and frequently offer empowering words to suggest the person will find love again. So marriage can be beautiful. You can choose your next of kin. So what do you think comparing the different generations?
Well, I think values and, customs change over generations. And I don't think that the newer generations look at traditional marriage as the older generations did, where, one of the biggest goals in life was to get married and have a family, and getting married was an important part of society and important in order to be able to, have a stable society with good morals and all of that. I think that view has changed a lot over the years, and people now think that that's not necessarily a goal of society, or not necessarily something that should be important. And instead, it's fine to have a life partner instead, or not have any partner, and having children is not the main goal now. Now, sometimes it's your career or something else. So I just think it's a reflection of society's, values changing. And I think that it is probably very upsetting to older generations that still feel that, older values are what's important. But I think as we move, forward as a society, we're just that's the direction we're going right now, and people are just gonna start to accept it.
It's funny here. I'm looking at the trends of divorce with the search word, and there's divorce. It's divorce, but they're firing their coach. They're calling it on the article. Divorces. The NFL coach is getting divorced. So Miami got a divorce, in Chicago Bears. I don't know. I followed fantasy football and the NFL. I was watching it yesterday, so I find that funny that it was a divorce, I guess. So anyways,
divorce comes up in every
yeah.
Sport and every topic.
All right. So with that, let's get into the part of the podcast where we go over Ask Emily Anything, where people post whether starting their divorce journey, whether they're going through child custody problems, whether they're splitting up assets. And let's see what we got today. I didn't curate any of these, so we'll see what happens here. So 45 years old, angry and scared. This person getting started in their divorce process. My husband of 15 years and I get along very well and have a great marriage until, of course, I found out yesterday he's having an affair, but says he's polygamous and doesn't want a divorce, but the possibility to see people on the side with my consent, I am not really at all for an open relationship. So this will be heading straight to divorce. I'm enraged right now because he just blew up a happy family. We have 2 young kids, and they'll carry the scars of their father's stupidity the rest of their lives. And financially, this will be a mess. So we just talked about this open relationship, open marriage topic. Yeah, this was coincidence. I had no idea. So yeah, so this is like you're saying, like a lot of people aren't, they're like, no, this isn't for me, this open thing.
Yeah, I mean, that person it sounds like they just found out yesterday, so it's very emotional and raw. But yeah, I don't think most people are okay with the open thing. But the open thing is more like agreed to. Like this sounds like a secret affair that, wasn't agreed to, which is very different. So, but I think most people wouldn't agree. And so if someone wants to go outside the marriage, they're going to do it as an affair. But yeah, I don't think most people are okay with someone going outside the marriage. And, it's possible these people talk and reconcile and figure something else out. But being dishonest, I think, is one of the biggest parts of the betrayal with an affair. It's not just the affair, it's the fact that you were dishonest about it.
Okay, another getting started one. My question is, has anyone had an experience where they felt relieved and the good emotions overwhelm the bad emotions? Understand it comes and goes, but are the lows always extremely low? And what are the mitigating circumstances in the less painful separation?
That's really hard. I mean, it's hard because it's different for everyone. I think everyone finds different parts of the process really hard. Some people find starting it hard. Some people find filling out the paperwork hard because you have to actually face it. Some people find, the end hard because now it's real and it's finally over. So I think it just depends. I think it depends on the person. And that's why I always say I think it's important to have a therapist or someone that you're talking to help you through all the parts, because you don't even necessarily know which part you're going to find hard or stressful until you get there.
Okay, our last post of the day, another, it's like the getting started thing, probably because of the new year. So we've been married less than a year, but there's no intimacy at all. If I try to talk about it to him, he walks away. If he tries to touch me, I cringe. I can't be intimate with someone who doesn't respect me, and I feel like he has no respect for me at all. He would rather play video games and do literally anything with me. If I gave him the ultimatum, he would choose video games. I wonder what game it is. It has wrecked my self-esteem that my own husband would rather play video games than go on vacation with me, hang out, or even have a child. How am I supposed to look everyone who spent money on our wedding in the eye and tell them I'm getting divorced because my husband can't love me more than his computer?
Wow, that sounds like my kid. Like I think with well, look, that's like at the point that it's like an addiction. And I think it's like any other addiction where there needs to be like some kind of intervention. Like, look, you can love video games, that can be your thing. But if it's to the detriment of the rest of your life, we got to figure out something. And if he's willing to rehab and restructure his priorities, then maybe they can save their relationship. But if he's not, it's kind of like when anything else interferes with their relationship, whether it's drugs or alcohol or an affair, or the person's not willing to set aside that desire to make the relationship work, then there may be nothing she can do. But I think it's worth trying a last ditch like intervention type of effort.
Not to defend any of this horrible behavior. My Xbox is in the garage. It's been in the garage for a few months because of this problem. But these video games, they go on forever. They're like a loop,
I know.
and they're addicting. You have to unplug it. It's a video game maker's fault because it's too good to put down. Now, so with that said, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll talk about more divorce and video games on the next episode of the Modern Divorce Podcast. Okay, bye. See you next week. Bye, Emily.